Hi all, I am Tushar. I am here for the demo session of UI UX design. Many of you are willing to know more about this career option, and some of you have already tried UI UX in this lockdown period. Some online video sessions they are going through, and they are trying to learn something about it. So, anyways, I am into this training since last 3 4 years. Since 2016, I started training in UI UX. I am currently working with multiple training portals and multiple brands, firms in the same domain. So I have done some certifications from IDEO University, Stanford, and University of Virginia, and my graduation is from BMM Advertising stream, and I've done that from Mumbai University. So this is a bit about me, the kind of trainings I do. I am also working with some startups and businesses and app designers, app development firms, IT companies. And let's start the presentation. So if you look at this picture, this is the first slide of my presentation. You see people like scientists or some engineers or somebody like that. These two people are like interacting with this technology, some sort of machine in front of them. And if you look at that machine, you might realize that it's like all across the room, like on all the walls they have these gadgets and wires and everything messed up and like complicated machine. So if I ask you what do you think this machine is, so few of you who are having knowledge of computers and those kind of technologies might recognize that this is like early stage computer. So when computers got introduced to the world, that time those computers used to be like this, spread across the entire room or the entire floor, you can say, on all the walls, like all these big electronic components connected together with wires and other electronic stuff. And obviously, to operate or interact with this kind of machine, you required some experts, some engineers, programmers, or scientists, and people like that. So we call them experts. So this was like expert only domain. And now we are in 2020, and today's picture is totally changed. So this computer, you won't be able to compare with today's computer at all. Even like computers have shrunk so much that like maybe 10 times, 20 times of the size of this thing. And like computers are today in your pocket, like your smartphone is a potential, like you can say it's a computer only. It has all those computer uh, components in it, and it has processors and all these things. So it's, in a way, you can call it a small computer. And the people who are interacting with this kind of device, the picture is totally changed. So these were like some experts from some developed countries and all that. And today's picture is like this. At least in India, you can see this picture for sure. So we are actually handing over our mobile devices as soon as a child is born. We are like giving them mobile phone as a first toy to interact with, right? So this picture very well explains that, like how this small child is like trying to mimic their parents or like people around, like they are just observing them and trying to like make a fake like call or something like that. So they are trying to mimic. So from that age they are interacting, they are tapping on phone. If they are crying, you are showing them some animated cartoon films and stuff like that, right? So from that age they are interacting and playing with technology in literal sense, you can say. Then as they progress, go to kindergarten, junior KG, senior KG, I don't know what they call it, those educational terms like today. But I remember in that kind of childhood, like I used to get those black slates and used to draw on them with white chalks, and there used to be a duster and all that. So those slates are gone. Like today you have digital slates like these, so tablets like kids are using. Like in this picture also you can see kids are maybe using applications to learn like Byju's and Vedantu and whatever. So these new things and new technology, they are learning concepts in 3D and more immersive way. They can interact with those things, and whenever they want, they get stuck at something, they can explore things in a better way. Also, if you look at not just kids but elders, so like this is a farmer, today's farmer. So you can't say like today we are able to achieve 100% literacy rate in India. Still, our farmers and people living in like remote villages are not that literate or very well educated, and they don't know foreign languages as such. And most of the technology still, like internet is open to the world, but the technology and all the details are not yet translated fully into regional languages. So that language barrier is there, but then technologies like voice search and other technologies are bridging that gap. And using those latest things, their smartphones and laptops, farmers are actually becoming digital, like part of this digital world. And they are able to predict the weather reports and understand like how to grow better crops and how to get better yield from those crops and how to sell properly in marketplace. So they are using technology to actually boost their economical condition and go to the next level. Also, women are like already empowered, you can say, at least in the city areas. Women are going out for work and they are like doing all the work, also multitasking and looking after their household and all that. So they are using many applications on their smartphones to do this multitasking, buying groceries and other utilities they use at home and all that stuff. Then you look at this picture and you realize that these are elderly people who are using technology. So one of the lady is holding a smartphone in her hand, and it's a small device, and this person is holding like a bigger screen like a tab. So, if you think about technology, we often say that technology is making us lazy. We are sitting at a place and not moving anywhere, not going, sitting on a couch and looking at television or entertainment and just ordering stuff online. We're not even going to malls or some shops nearby. We are just ordering everything online and it is getting home delivered. So yeah, in a way you can say that is making us unhealthy in a way. We are not moving anywhere, we are not going, we are not doing exercise properly and all that. We are becoming lazy. But for these kind of old age people, this technology is a gift, you can say. Like because they are, because of their old age and their maybe problems, illness, they have knee problems, they have joint pains. Because of that, they are not able to mobilize very easily. They are not able to move from one place to another. So for them, this technology is really good. But then they might have challenges using a small phone screen. So for them, you had to have a device which is a better device to use. They'll have shivering hands, so tapping on a button would be a challenge on this, a small button on this kind of small smartphone. But on a larger screen there won't be any issue. They'll be able to see those, read everything properly because the font will appear a little bigger. So these things are there, and these things are important for them. So you have to understand, as per your user, your technology and your user interface is going to change, right? So whatever the user is going to use to interact and get useful information is, can be called like user interface, right? And the entire experience that surrounds it is your user experience. Then if you look at the changing world and customer expectations, what do you see? You see this picture today. Like this is like a latest one which I included in the slide. So I'll start from the left. Like you see Virat Kohli with this 2 yum kind of packaging in his hand. So basically, earlier you used to see Lay's and Balaji and other brands, chips, wafers, those kind of players in market. And now you can see those getting replaced by these kind of healthier options, so-called healthier options. So they are saying that we are using healthy ingredients and those who are not, which are not harmful, and we are not frying these chips. We are baking these chips. That's what they are saying. So, and people are moving towards healthy living. In today's situation, everybody is looking after their family and their wellness and health. So everybody is looking for something which is healthy. Also, this kind of so this ice cream. So Amul introduced haldi flavored ice cream. Haldi doodh ke gud or ice cream ka maza. So why they have done this? Because turmeric is said to be a good immunity booster, and today nobody is going to eat ice cream at outlet, right? Because of this corona situation, this lockdown, everybody is scared, like going out and eating something. They have that craving because they haven't had ice cream or any such things in a long period of time, in this like 3 4 months. The problem is, even though that is the case, people are hesitant. People won't do it unless there is something which helps them understand like this could be a better option for you. So they are saying that we are having some haldi, turmeric, and other ingredients in this, which is immunity booster. So if you eat this, you are not going to catch cold. Instead, it will fight with cold like things like all these illnesses and fever, cold, and like flu and all that. So that's what they are trying to communicate with this kind of new innovation. Similar innovation you can see when you see look at these automobiles. Like today, nobody is coming up with a petrol variant of a car or a scooter or a bike. Everybody is trying to get into electric market. So much so that Bajaj Chetak has launched electric scooter, right? And in order to use these kind of digital technology based options, electric, electronic, you have to use some kind of interface, some apps. Even this car might be having a digital dashboard. This bike might be having a dashboard, small dashboard over here. So you will be touching that interface and operating it. So over there also you need a UI design, user interface, that has to be designed nicely, which makes it easier for users to use it, right? So that is how UI UX helps in these today's changing scenarios and technologies. Even if you look at experiential economy, like today's economy is no more commodity based, or even we are going to next levels beyond brand and all. So earlier we used to like buy coffee beans or maybe loose tea or loose salt in a loose format. But now everybody is using Tata Namak and all other packaged things, right? So then what happened, like city life is busy, people don't get time to actually even brew their own coffee or make their own tea. So they started going out to outlets like restaurants and all that to have their coffee or tea and breakfast and stuff like that, because of the fast life. And now that has converted into a next level, which is experience based. So people are going to places like Starbucks and CCD and baristas and all that, because they want that experience. They are looking forward to that experience, right? So that experience is important for them. And Starbucks gives you a nice atmosphere, nice experience, and all other things. They have customization options for you, so you can customize your coffee in like 10 different ways. So all that is playing a big role today. And ultimately, whichever product or brand is going to give you good experience, you are going to buy that again and again. That every brand has realized. So just by making a pretty packaging, that brand is not going to be like high in sales, right? It has to be based on experience, how you can improve the experience for your end customers, end users. That is essential, and that is where user experience design helps you. So if you consider a scenario where you are trying to buy something online, so we just go open our Amazon or Flipkart app or Myntra app, or maybe go on their website, or just search on Google and start finding something online, and then we buy that by using our credit card or UPI, Bheem app, Google Pay, whatever, right? So we are so used to all this Paytm and all that kind of now, that we are using digital currency a lot, and we don't even think about what all goes behind this. But a UI UX designer has to think about all these things. They have to actually think about each and every step, and there are around 9 to 10 steps involved in making a purchase on this e-commerce site, right? So these are like, you start getting inspiration, like you get inspired by something, you look at something, you look at some advertisement online, or you look at somebody who is actually using that product. Maybe your friend has bought new iPhone or something like that, so you get inspired, you look at that, it gets stuck into your mind. Then if it remains like that, then you start searching for that product, right? The second step is search. So you'll start searching and getting more information, like trying to get more information for that. Once you are done with gathering information, then you will start exploring. So what else do they have, like what all other things they do and all that stuff. So that is exploration stage. Once you gather all the information and pros and cons and all that, you need to understand it, how it compares with other products, other similar products. So you start evaluating. Then based on evaluation, you start choosing something. So you start, like, you make up your mind, okay, this looks best for me, this suits my requirements, so I'll go with this, particularly this product. So while you're choosing, you also tend to look at pricing. So is that this price right for me? Am I getting value for my money? And is this what my budget is, which I'm trying to spend? So then you go through the buying process. While using your credit card or any other currency, today you are more concerned because you get to see a lot of online frauds happening. So you think about, is this website trustworthy? You look at that small lock icon on top, HTTPS, if it is a website, and if it is an app, then you look at it like whether it's genuine or not and all that. So that is the important thing. Then you have confirmation. So if once you buy something, you swipe your credit card, like you use your credit card or maybe UPI, and once your money is gone, then you need to have some confirmation, okay, we have received your order and it will be under process, or it will be shipped to you soon, and whatever. So that confirmation has to be there. Then the eighth step is engagement. So suppose you have bought something on Swiggy or Zomato, some food item you have ordered. So that once you place the order, then it shows you it's preparing, it's getting prepared. Then it shows you somebody has picked it up for you, and then that person is coming on a bike and to deliver it to you. So you can track that entire journey on a map. So that is called engagement. So you get engaged with that brand. And then in the ninth step, you receive that product actually. So based on what you get inside, you might say, wow, this is an awesome product, and I should tell my friends about how good this is. Or if you get soap instead of your mobile phone, you get frustrated, or maybe your device is broken or something. It is not a proper color, or it's not a proper device that you ordered, it's something else. So you will feel frustrated, you would like to go get your money back, or you would actually get angry and write some bad review to those people who have sent it to you. So this is how your entire process is happening, and these are the steps you go through. So UI UX designer understands each and every step through which the user goes and tries to improve that and make it easier for them at each and every step. And how we do that? So we follow some process. and I have simplified this process. So actually the process is a little more complicated than this, but I've tried to simplify it to you, for you, because some of you might be new to this concept altogether. So the basic process is understand people, their problems, goals and needs. So first we have to understand users who are going to use this app or website or product or whatever. So who are the customers, who are the users who are going to use it? Then what are the problems they face while using such products? And what goals do they have? Why they are using this kind of app or a website? What is their end goal? Or maybe what need they have? Right? So these are the things you understand, and based on this understanding you start designing some solution. So you create solutions to meet these needs. Then once you do that, it's not a single solution that you design or create. You should come up with multiple solutions. Then you have to evaluate and improve your solution. So you have to do maybe user testing and stuff like that, and understand which one works better for these users. And then you send that to production, send that to development, coding, and you also repeat this process. So this is not a one time process. Once you do that, then maybe to improve the app, to add new features and do all that, you have to update and repeat this process again and again. So let's see some examples now. So when we see design, so these are like two different like countries, consumers, US based consumers and people in China, right? So US based consumers prefer or like to see app designs or layouts like these, while in China they like or prefer designs like these. If I ask you that which one is a better design, so many of you might say the US one looks better. It's clutter free, it has less options, it's not that confusing, it's very well laid out. Yeah, aesthetically I would also agree to that. But people in China need to see more options. That's their need. That's what they want, because there are so many options to choose from. So for them, this is a better design. They prefer this app over this kind of apps. Right? So it's not very important that, I'm not saying that aesthetic design is not important at all. It is important. But you have to figure out how, what is their need, that what are they coming for. If they are coming for options and you make them go through multiple pages, then they are not going to be happy with this app. But if they see this kind of app which shows all the options on one single screen, they might start using this more. So you have to understand your users' requirements, their needs, and then accordingly design the app. And that is the better design for those people. So it's highly subjective. It's not that one design can be good for everyone. And in India, where we have so many different kind of people, so many different cultures and other things, so we have great opportunity of building some products for various kind of people. So if you hold your phone in your hand and try to operate it using a single hand which you are holding it in, so you'll use your thumb most probably, and many of us are right handed people, like righty. So if you are using your thumb, what happens is this green area is what you can move your thumb easily. This orange area is where you have to stretch your thumb a bit in order to hold it and at the same time operate or touch on it. And the red part, red zone, is totally out of reach while holding the phone in your hand. So you will have to use another hand's finger in order to like tap on this upload button or go live or on this YouTube or whatever. So earlier, if you notice, people used to have these options on top. There used to be hamburger menus and all that stuff. Now they are moving these options at the bottom, because this is what user friendly app should be like. And again, this is more relevant today because your phones are screens are getting bigger and bigger. So obviously you won't be able to like operate this big screen with single hand easily. So that's why your main option should be at the bottom. So if you look at Flipkart, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Airbnb, Spotify, Twitter, all of them have moved their main navigation at the bottom, right? Also, if you look at Uber, Ola, these kind of apps, they used to have initially, like few months or a year back maybe, they used to have the search option on top. So if you are holding your phone in your one hand, then in order to tap on this, you had to use your another hand. But if they move this to the bottom, you can just tap it with your thumb. Same hand which you are holding it with, right? So basically, this is more user friendly option. Now you also have like foldable displays. So that is another dimension, right? You will be having a smartphone, and that in fraction of second some user will flip it and it will convert into this kind of tablet device. So how you are going to design an app which will adjust to these different screens, that is going to be a challenging task. So that is what UI UX designers have to think about and come up with some creative solutions. Voice assistant, Google Assistant, like as I said, those farmers are using voice assistant and voice search in order to, in their regional languages. So here you can see in Hindi they have shown some options. So you can use any Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, these kind of regional languages, and you can actually use these applications without getting bothered by understanding English and knowing where to tap and figuring out technology, because in voice based interface you actually don't have to tap a lot. It's more about saying something. It's a conversational thing, and in your regional language it makes it more easier for end users, right? So it might be difficult for our grandparents to understand Instagram and how to use it and stuff like that, but imagine if they are able to operate those kind of apps just by saying some words by voice. So Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi, actually announced long back that they have created Jan Dhan accounts. And what are these Jan Dhan accounts? They are enabling poor people to have money in their account whenever there is some situation like floods and all these things. So farmers and their crops get like devastated because of all these kind of situations, and governments are trying to help them. They are having some policies and subsidies for these farmers, so they are trying to send some help in form of money to these farmers. But there is such a deep level of corruption involved in all this machinery, government mechanism, that they normally don't get that money properly. It used to happen that they used to get like one third of it, something like that, and other used to get like disappeared in some corruption act. So they started these Jan Dhan accounts in order to send that benefit directly in their bank accounts. So that is a great idea, because no middleman is going to handle that money. It is directly going to get into their bank accounts. But the problem is these people don't know how to operate banking apps. They don't know how to transact with these applications, right? So what if a voice based application is created? So this is an example. You can simply say check bank balance, and it shows you how much balance you have in your account, right? As simple as that. Anybody can understand it. Any elderly person can understand. It's showing it such a bold and big font, and there is not much to click on, right? It's like there are only few buttons. It's mostly operated with your voice. Now imagine this person needs to send some money to somebody. So transaction is an important aspect of banking. So what they can do is they can just say something like in their mother tongue, pay Ram Mohan 1 rupee. So pay Ram Mohan 1 rupees 200. in Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Malayalam, Bengali, any regional language you can say. राम मोहन को 200 रुपये दो या भेजो, राम मोहनला 200 रुपये पाठवा. So something like that in regional language, and then they just have to click on the check mark, tick mark, or if it is a mistake they can click on this cross and they can cancel the transaction. So this easy we can make for these people by using voice interactions. So voice based prototyping, voice interface, these are new things in UI UX that you should be skilled at. You already know Alexa, how they are using IoT, AI, machine learning kind of devices, new technologies in order to get some interesting use cases, you can say. So you can watch TV on Alexa like devices, you can turn on lights, you can communicate with other people on their Alexa devices, and you can do like look at recipes and do a lot of stuff like order groceries and stuff like that. So these devices are changing our world, and in future also these technologies are going to make it interesting. And so we have to design for all these. That's what UI UX designers do, right? So that's an interesting area. Today's situation, right? Corona, COVID-19, lockdown, healthcare workers are important, and they are trying to like cure patients, but at the same time they have to save themselves. So what if there is an interface, this kind of remote structure where they can just look at their vital organs and how things are running with these patients, and without going near those patients, remotely they can actually operate and understand and then give them medicines. Like one of my friend is working in robotics, so he has created robots to actually deliver medicines to these patients. So all these interesting things are happening, and we have to design for all this entire experience. So imagine like this doctor or surgeon or whoever it is, who is a medical worker, you can say, who is trying to operate this screen, but then their hands, they have these gloves on, they can't remove this, they are in that PPE kit or something like that. So how they are going to touch this and how they are going to operate? So what all design changes we have to do for this? It might require a hardware design also, like a special kind of screen which can recognize touch with these kind of gloves on. But along with that, you also have to think about other scenarios. So that is where user experience design plays a vital role. Virtual reality, you people know of. Augmented reality, we have some apps that you must have seen, QR code, turning some like some still things into animated 3D models and stuff like that. And then there is merged or mixed reality. So this is what is going to change the future now, and you have to think about mixed reality. So this is Microsoft HoloLens 2, and you can use augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality like things. Wear these glasses on your head, and like you can just see through it, and you'll be able to see 3D environment all around you. So weather report, you'll be able to see a cloud bursting, or maybe a lightning happening, or a rain falling in front of you in 3D like this. And this is possible today. It's not, I'm not talking about distant future. This is today possible because this Microsoft HoloLens 2 can actually do these kind of things, but it is not widely available yet. It's an expensive device, and it is only used by some experts. As I showed you, experts demo in, so like that they are using, some experts are only using it. But when it comes to your doorstep at your place, then the picture might look like this. So this girl is not at all present in this room, but see how realistic it looks. So using these kind of devices, you'll be able to actually interact with people remotely as if they are present in the room. And obviously you have heard about Mr. Ambani's launch.
So let me show you our latest innovation, the Geo Glass.
So this GeoGlass is actually already recently has launched, and this will help us do interesting things in terms of various like education and all. Like this demo is available on YouTube, you can check it out. And basically it is going to like communicate in 3D avatars and in real world scenario. So our training, we might be able to, if we would have had this access to GeoGlass, we would have been able to do trainings like this. So that is going to be an interesting future to look at, right? These are some small things which you might have noticed, small but user friendly feature updates, right? So this is also UI UX design. It's not just pretty interfaces or 3D designs and interactions. It's also these kind of small things. Like somebody says thanks to you on LinkedIn, you get these kind of suggestions to tap on. So why they have done this thing? Because we are using mobile phones a lot today. And on mobile, typing is not very user friendly activity as such, right? We tend to make a lot of mistakes, spelling errors and all that. So what if you get suggestions? So artificial intelligence, machine learning kind of technologies are actually giving you these kind of suggestions, and then you can just tap on it and say thumbs up or welcome or how are you, whatever. So this is a Gmail option which you get to see, right? So this is what is happening. And how we do this? So all these new technologies and all that, in order to do that, we follow certain process. So these are some topics which I am showing over here. So this is like we start with a user research. So where we understand how this UX design evolved as a discipline. That is the first lesson we learn. Then we start getting into user research. We try and understand the users for whom we are designing and developing apps or websites or these experiences. We do some analysis of this research, and from that analysis we can come up with some personas, some user characteristics and all that. And then we'll be able to define the problem properly for these users. So what problem we are trying to solve for these people, and then we look at these people in various scenarios, how they'll be using these apps or websites, in what conditions and all that. And based on that we come up with information architecture. So these are some technical terms some of you might not have heard of, but in our training we'll definitely go through all these, and there are many more. This is like, in this slide I could only fit 7, but there are many more. So user research or UX research, you can say, user experience design, there is a process. Then once you do that, you also have to think about business strategy. So for UI UX training, I won't be covering business strategy as such, but we'll have some small bit of we'll touch base on these few of these things, I can say. And this is a different topic altogether, but you need to have a clear strategy. And why it comes after user research? Because your business strategy should be based on what users are looking forward to. Otherwise, whatever you're providing as a business might not be in alignment with the user's expectations. So you have to think about that. And based on business strategy and user research, you design something, UI design and prototyping. And in order to do that, the kind of tools we use, the kind of things we do are these. So these are few icons, you can say: Figma, Sketch, Framer, InVision, Adobe. So many of you who are designers might be familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator and all that. And these are, so don't worry that you have to learn so many tools. It's nothing like that. These are all easy as paintbrush like tools. Like, so you don't have, there is not much of a learning curve. So people who are non-designers or non-techie kind of persons are able to use these apps. It's become, technology is becoming, making it easier and easier for everyone. So we'll be using many of these apps and we'll be creating some UI UX designs. And I'll show you some example, like some advanced tools. So this is a tool called Figma. So this Figma, you can today go to figma.com, register yourself, using your Gmail, and you can start using this. So this is a browser based tool, you don't even have to install it. And the great thing about it is multiple people can work at the same time on a same design. So you can see how people are working on the same design at the same time. So which is an interesting idea because it speeds up your design process a lot. And people can design together, not just one person designing at a time. So this is how new tools are making things interesting, and there are many more animation tools and interaction tools and stuff like that, which is exciting. So I hope you understood what is UI UX all about and how it is going to evolve in the near future. So we might work on 3D interfaces instead of these kind of 2D screens, right? We might put our smartphones in our pocket and use Geo glasses or Apple glasses or whatever, those kind of things, and wave our hands in mid-air and interact with 3D buttons and interfaces, right? So this is the future, and we'll be learning all these kind of what goes behind this, what is the process of this, and how to come up with such interesting, nice UI designs, user experience designs, and all these things. So that is what we are going to learn in this training. So if you have any doubts about the online training which I'll be conducting, you can call me on my number, and I'll be able to discuss with you in more detail. So thank you for your presence, and hope to connect with you for actual online training. Take care. Bye.